and gentlemen, have you ever heard the term circumstantial terrorism? No? Well, the Congress party has just launched its latest entry in the How to Offer Cover Fire to Terrorists handbook. And this brand new classification comes from none other than the original inventor of the term saffron terror, former Union Home Minister Mr. P. Chidambaram. Even as the NIA was scrambling to piece together the Delhi blast conspiracy that killed 13 innocent people, Mr. Chidambaram pieced together a philosophical thought. In his very first post on the incident, there is not a word of outrage, not even a token condemnation of the perpetrators or sympathy for the victims. Instead of slamming Jaish-E-Mohammed, whose fingerprints are clearly emerging in this case, Chidambaram decided to unveil a brand new definition. He said, and I quote, "There are two kinds of terrorists, foreign-trained infiltrators and homegrown terrorists, Desi terrorists for short." And for anyone confused about why a senior leader was suddenly indulging in philosophical explanation, he clarified his mission to ask ourselves what are the circumstances that turn Indian citizens into terrorists. So what exactly is the former Home Minister trying to say when he talks about homegrown terror? Is he giving a clean chit to Pakistan? When he claims Indians are turning into terrorists, is he deliberately shifting the focus away from cross-border outfits? And when he urges us to ask about the circumstances, is that a sophisticated way of turning circumstances into an excuse of painting terrorists as victims, downplaying their culpability and quietly floating the oppression narrative? Abu Azmi in a sophisticated, well-labeled and well-branded bottle. Is this yet another attempt to shift the blame onto the so-called majoritarian agenda instead of calling out the terror networks actually responsible? The BJP certainly thinks so. Listen in.
There are only two sides in the fight against terrorism. Those who are with the terrorists and those who are against terrorism. There's no middle path. And these kind of statements to come to try and look at excuses and try to paint a victimhood on terrorists, in effect, does injustice to those who have suffered terror. As in the Delhi bomb blast case, it includes Hindus and Muslims.
आखिर कांग्रेस पार्टी को हो क्या गया है? आतंकवाद की भी नई परिभाषा, स्वदेशी आतंकवादी, विदेशी आतंकवादी। अरे आतंकवादी आतंकवादी होता है किस धर्म का है, किस समुदाय का है, यह महत्वपूर्ण नहीं है। उसने जो कृत्य किया है वो अमानवीय कृत्य किया है। कैसा तर्क आपने दे दिया कि परिस्थिति आतंकवादी में भी आतंकवादी बन रहे।
But then again, what else can one really expect from a party whose own chief, Sonia Gandhi, is famously said to have shed tears for the Batla House accused? A party that has a ready-made inventory of homegrown excuses to offer cover fire to Islamist terrorists? Whether it was the Pulwama suicide bombing or the Pahalgam terror attack, for them terror suddenly has no religion until the accused happens to be a Hindu. Terrorists have no ideology until there's even a whiff of Hindutva angle to weaponize. And terrorists have no categories until they run out of every other explanation and need one last diversion. Congress now is trying to distance itself from Chidambaram's comments, but its own alliance partner, Samajwadi Party, is offering a reality check for the former Home Minister.
We've not issued any such statement when you say the Congress party, but when the government takes 48 hours in issuing any official version, obviously there'll be a lot of scope of speculation, of people floating theories, media floating theories. It happens.
P. Chidambaram UP1, UP2 में भी इस तरह की बात करते थे, लेकिन जो चिदम्बरम जी के समय पे जो कुछ हुआ उनके बतौर गृह मंत्री, सैकड़ों आसपास तकरीबन 50 से ज्यादा मुसलमान लड़के इनोसेंट 12 साल बाद 15 साल बाद हाई कोर्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जरिए बाइज्जत बरी हुए।
If you want Want to understand how politics is being played over this tragedy? Just look at these two pictures. Aam Aadmi Party leaders circulated two photos of a victim at the LNJP hospital. One from the time Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta visited, and another from when Prime Minister Modi went to meet him. The Aam Aadmi Party claimed that when the Chief Minister met him, there was no bandage on the victim's hand, but when the Prime Minister arrived, suddenly, according to them, the hand was wrapped in a bandage, the clothes were different, and the entire scene looked staged. Staged in LNJP after a terror incident? Really? The BJP hit right back and called this sick politics and a factually incorrect representation of facts. Meanwhile, the Congress is now asking for an all-party meeting on the blast.
हम सरकार के साथ खड़े हुए आपको हमेशा मिलेंगे जब भी कोई हमला होगा, लेकिन सरकार से सवाल पूछने का भी हमारा एक धर्म है जो हम निभाएंगे। इसलिए हम एक नैतिक ताकत से ये पूछ सकते हैं कि साहब आपके यहां जिम्मेदारी कौन ले रहा है, आपके यहां जवाबदेही किसकी हो रही। हम यह भी मांग करते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री की अध्यक्षता में एक सर्वदलीय बैठक तुरंत बुलाई जाए।
There are many things that the opposition could have done. Here are 5 things that the opposition could have focused on instead of definitions and dresses or whatever bandage or not bandage. They could have asked, number 1, the terror plot is getting decoded. Investigators have discovered the diaries of Dr. Omar and Dr. Muzammil packed with repeated references to the word operation and marked dates from November 8th to November 12th. These weren't random notes, they were timelines. 2, clear Pakistan-Turkey links emerging. Adil, Umar and Muzaffar traveled to Turkey in 2021 while Dr. Umar's handler is suspected to be sitting in Turkey and Muzammil was in touch with a Pakistan-based handler. The phone gives away these forensic details. The cross-border footprints are unmistakable, but probably they failed to notice. Number 3, evidence of a bigger conspiracy. Sources suggest that 8 accused were planning blasts across 4 locations. Number 4, emergence of more cars and likelihood of more planned explosions because not just the I-20, an EcoSport, a Desire, a Brezza are now under the scanner. These vehicles may have been readied for additional blasts. And lastly, the crackdown on Al-Falah University, now under the lens as a possible Jaish-linked den. The center has ordered a forensic audit, the funding trail is being scrutinized and even the accreditation, the health ministry also stepping in to look at just what kind of medicine practice was going on in a university where at least 3 doctors actually turned out to be doctors of death. Unfortunately, none of this has managed to get attention of Mr. Chidambaram or his team, or his circumstantial terror explanation, an attempt to deflect focus from these very details. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the Motorola legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. Is whitewashing terror Congress's homegrown way to offer cover fire to terrorists? That's the question and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Nalin Kohli, national spokesperson of the BJP, coming back on the channel after a long break. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author and scientist. Also joining the show is Abhijit Iyer Mitra, senior fellow at the IPCS. Dr. Ashutosh Verma, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Siddharth Sharma, national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. But my first question goes to my friend.
Thank you.
Very rare friend in the Congress Party, Tehseen Poonawala. And Tehseen Poonawala, I really want to ask you, कांग्रेस वाले सोचते क्या हैं, खाते क्या हैं? Why do they come up with such labels? From Hindu terror, now we are on to Desi terror, homegrown terror, and we are worried about circumstances. Did Mr. P. Chidambaram worry about circumstances when he labeled saffron terror, when he got Colonel Purohit arrested? Were there any circumstances that worried him at that point in time? Today, when the Jaish-E-Mohammed footprint is becoming clearer and clearer, when there are overseas connections that are becoming clearer by the day, when there is this doctor of death circle that we are looking at, when we are looking at Al-Falah, a kind of medical colleges and universities, Mr. Chidambaram is worried about whether the circumstances were right for these doctors of death, for him, rather poor doctors earning 4 lakh rupees every month, a 50 lakh salary tab at the age of 30 years. We are looking at their circumstances, Tehseen. Really, who's the victim here? The terrorists or those who lost their lives, and many of those who the intelligence agencies saved?
Ariane and Navika, thank you so much for having me on the show. My deepest condolences to the family members and friends of those who've lost their lives. And we wish a speedy recovery to those who are injured. And a big thank you to the Jammu and Kashmir Police, Haryana Police, Delhi Police, Intelligence Forces, paramedicals, and the first responders for the services they've rendered. So thank you so much. And to that SSP in Jammu who identified this by those posters of Jaish-E-Mohammed put up. Navika, with respect to you, and you know that I have a lot of respect for you, it seems to me that the purpose of this show is not maybe to a conversation, but to put down the Congress party. And I think that's not the Congress. So may I just clarify 2 or 3 things. You know that Mrs. Gandhi did not cry buckets. It was a statement made by Salman Khurshid at Batla House, and the circumstances are different. Action was taken against Salman Khurshid. But let's stick to this incident on what Mr. Chidambaram has said. We know that the Al-Falah University and the founder of this university was fined 7.5 crores. This is as recent as 2014, 16, 15, 16. Yet in 2019, this piece of filth gets permission to run a university in Haryana. Now, this is a double-engine sarkar. This is some people who are involved in an international conspiracy. Jaish-E-Mohammed, Turkey, but these are people from our nation. Should we not know what are the circumstances? How does a government, it's not a Congress government, a double-engine government, give this university permission? Let me ask you the second question. Had it not been for that SP to look at those posters and gone down to search, these people were hiding in plain sight. Now, Abhijit Iyer put out a fabulous tweet and a podcast of his, how this is an intelligence success. But the fact that they did gather 3,000 kilos of explosives, that this is happening in India. What is that ideology? And we know what that ideology is. And how are we looking at tackling this ideology within the boundaries of our nation? Is this not what we have to look at? These were Indian Muslims who carried out acts of terror. I'm very clear on talking. I will not mince my words. Is it not the government's responsibility to look at it? Now, when Mr. Chidambaram is saying, let's look at it, the entire thing is twisted as if the Congress party is encouraging terrorism. How can this be accepted? The fact is, you have to look at what is causing, as you rightly said, people earning a package of 50 lakhs doing this. Is it a religious indoctrination? Is it some other indoctrination? Is it financial indoctrination? Is it international pressure? Is it blackmailing? How else is this happening? Should we not look at it? What is the roots of this ammonium nitrate 360 kilos reaching? Should we not look at it? Is any of this that I said is not correct? How can this be twisted? Just to make Mr. Chidambaram look bad?
No.
Terrible.
I don't have to try very hard to make him look bad. Look at his timeline of his Twitter. My friend, not one condemnation of the Terror Act. The last tweet that I'm looking at was made on 8th of November and then 11th of November, wishing the King of Bhutan a very happy birthday. On 10th of November,
when the Prime Minister was
1 minute. No, nothing on the 10th of November, and then a detailed tweet today in which he's lamenting about the homegrown terrorists and their circumstances. Not a mention. 1 minute, Tehseen. Not a mention. I'm not here to make you look good or Chidambaram look bad. I will raise questions fearlessly about whatever I want to, so stop interrupting me. But please. Nalin Kohli. Chidambaram, I'm making Chidambaram look bad. He helps himself so ably. I don't need to do it.
No.
Mr. Chidambaram's an intelligent man. He's a senior advocate. He's someone who's been the Home Minister, the Finance Minister, and he's recognized for his intellectual capabilities. And this statement certainly needs to be looked in terms of how wrong it can be. First, terrorism and the fight against terrorism is a black and white fight. There are no shades of grey here. You're either with the terrorists, you're either supporting them, or you're with the victims. You don't have a story in between. Because the terrorists, and these ones in particular, and anyone else, they have failed, in this case, they have failed their country, they failed their religion, and they have failed humanity on all three counts. And there are enough Indian Muslims and other Muslims who are saying that these are people who are going against their own religion, which is Islam. So let's not get into any debate or any kind of justification here. Education is not the excuse. Why are educated people doing so? The people who brought down the World Trade Center studied at London School of Economics. That is not an excuse either. What we are talking about is warped minds. People who are looking for excuse for whatever be their mental problems, whatever be their indoctrination, to harm another human being, and that's unacceptable. It's as unacceptable irrespective of what is the religion the victim professes. Because in this attack, Hindus and Muslims both have died. In other attacks, other religions have died. The fact of the matter is that is unacceptable. And if someone is coming out there and trying to give it any kind of a color, I'm sorry to say that person, it may be Mr. Chidambaram, it may be someone else. That person is nothing more than an apologist for terrorism. Because terrorists have to be dealt with the harshest manner possible, because they never do good. They only harm humanity. It's as simple as that. And anyone who's using or misusing their religion to do so, their own religion is also, those who profess it and want peace, stand against them. So I'm sorry, this is not an intellectual debate. It's a black and white position. So as far as I see it, the Congress party has to be clear. Are they against terrorism or are they not? If they are against terrorism, where is the condemnation of the statement? If they are standing with the victims, then they have to come out and say, sorry, we don't accept by anybody. It could be Mr. Chidambaram, it could be anybody else. Someone trying to find an excuse for a terrorist to kill another Indian citizen or an innocent citizen who was either coming for shopping, meeting a best friend, going out to purchase something, or taking a rickshaw out for their daily livelihood. It's as simple as black and white as that. So we are not getting into semantics. This is not in a court of law. This is not about finding fine words and trying to give an assessment. This is about the death of a citizen and someone who took that life absolutely mindlessly. Period.
Absolutely. There are no two ways about it. But Ashutosh Verma ji, I want to ask you. समझौता ब्लास्ट हुआ तो एक डेफिनेशन आया जिसमें कहा गया कि भाई एक भगवा आतंकवाद है, सैफरन टेरर, हिंदू टेरर, एक नई पूरी डेफिनेशन आ गई. अब वी आर लुकिंग एट डेफिनेशन विच सेज घरेलू टेरर. ये घरेलू टेरर भी होता है, विदेशी टेरर भी होता है. ये सब किस लिए? पाकिस्तान को क्लीन चिट देने के लिए, ऐसे समय में जब इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जो हमारे पास खबरें आ रही हैं, सबको पता है कि अभी लिंक्स निकल रहे हैं और पहले लिंक्स में जैशे मोहम्मद का पूरा फुटप्रिंट नजर आ रहा है. उसके बीच में घरेलू आतंकवाद का नया डेफिनेशन आ गया. आप मानते हैं कि आतंकवाद को हम आतंकवाद नहीं करेंगे, उसमें कौम देखेंगे जैसे महबूबा मुफ्ती ने देखा, उसमें हम कांग्रेस के हुसैन दलवाई को देखेंगे कि मुसलमानों को किस तरह से प्रताड़ित किया जा रहा है. चिदम्बरम जी सर्कमस्टांसेस ढूंढ रहे हैं. किसी को इसमें टेरर एक्ट नहीं नजर आया, 13 विक्टिम नहीं नजर आए, सबको सर्कमस्टांसेस की तलाश है.
Thank you, Navika ji. And I think this time I am with Mr. Nalin Kohli, though we are not always with Bharatiya Janata Party. But I want just to make it very clear, Samajwadi Party doesn't differentiate between any shades between the terror. Either it should be a black or it should be a white. Either you are with terrorism or you are against terrorism. So we are very much clear. This is an act of terror. But the problem is in how they are taking, and I request everybody, this is a time to say to have a solidarity with at least the Indian government. But the question has to be asked Because every time this type of attack occur in India, maybe it in Nagrota, Pathankot, Anantnag, Pulwama, Uri, Pahalgam, Red Fort, Manipur, and endless there are lists. But who is the accountable? And you are talking about the financial records of all these doctors and all that terror activists. Navika ji, Indian government presently with the Home Ministry has CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation, has NIA, has IB, has RAW, has DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, has NTRO, National Technical Research Organization, has FIU, Financial Intelligence Unit. And Indian government has allocated 2.1 lakh crore of budget in 2024 and 25. And Indian government has taken 48 hours to label this attack as a terrorist attack. It exposes the vulnerability of the urban securities and exposes the Indian government why they are not preventing such attacks. We have series of events from last 11 years. And they say that in Bharatiya Janata Party there is no resignation. I remind of 2009 to 12, 2009 to 14 or even earlier, Bharatiya Janata Party gave a huge protest in the parliament, huge protest on the roads to have a resignation of either of P. Chidambaram ji or of Sushil Modi ji, Sushil Sindheri at that time. Why not accountability at that time? We as an Indian, we as a taxpayer, we expect comes at least security in the Delhi, at least near the Red Fort, who gives the symbol, who symbolize the integrity of India, and people not even are safe while driving the car. So I think the question has to be asked by the Indian government, not to the opposition. Condemn the opposition n number of times. Now this is a time Bharatiya Janata Party and Indian government has to give their explanation what they are doing from last 10, 11 years.
Nalin Kohli, please respond to the question by Ashutosh Verma ji.
The RDX.
I will absolutely.
3,000 kg. Navika ji, 3,000 kg of
Ashutosh Verma ji has asked a question and I will answer that straight. And I will answer that straight. I will answer that straight, Ashutosh ji. मैं आपके प्रश्नों को समझ चुका हूं. पूरा जवाब दूंगा और सीधा जवाब दूंगा. Let us start one by one. We have to bear in mind, for every 100 attacks or attempts by the terrorists, it only takes them one to succeed. For everyone to run down the security agents, nobody ever thanks the security forces, the intelligence agencies, all these names you have taken, for saving the 100 that they managed to thwart. Because every time somebody is caught, there is a whole network, whether it's an urban Naxal kind of a network, whether it's another network, apologist network that says, no, these agencies are targeting somebody of a religion or something. You have to stand with the agencies first. Number two, now you are asking about the difference between the government of the BJP under Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah ji as the Home Minister versus the Congress government. There's a huge difference. Show me one statement under this government that has actually gone ahead with Pakistan and made it a victim of terror. Don't forget the famous statement of Sharm el-Sheikh. Sharm ki baat hai that finally Pakistan, the perpetrator of terrorism, perhaps the epicenter of terrorism in the globe, Pakistan was named as a victim of terror. It's an impossibility to begin. Let's go further. Each time there has been something in the country, Prime Minister Modi's government has responded clearly, with clarity and effectively, ruthlessly. And I'm using that word, ruthlessly, because all that matters is an Indian life. It is not business as usual, as it always was. Take out a string of all the terrorist attacks that have happened in this country. See the number of people who have died. And it was business as usual. We will get back to it. We will get back to life. Under Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah ji as the Home Minister, there is no question as getting back to life. It is about we will go with them and we will go after them. There was surgical strike. There was Balkot. There's Operation Sindoor. And needless to say, this government will do whatever it takes to dismantle terrorism wherever it is. Because Indian lives matter. So there is no comparison. You want to compare the Congress governments, then compare it with the standards that they followed, not the standard that we follow.
Ashutosh ji.
So this is very hilarious from the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson. He is defending the common Indian death that we are not giving the falseless or ruthless statement. If by giving these statements you are saving the life of Indian, then definitely we will praise you. But what we are seeing in last 11 years, n number of attacks, and each time about 20, 30, 40 or 100 of people are injured or dead. And from last Pahalgam, you said that any attack on the Indian soil is supposed to be the terror of attack. So what you have given, not even from last 4 days, neither of Home Minister nor the Prime Minister has taken the name of Pakistan. You tell me any statement where in Bharatiya Janata Party any leader has taken the name of Pakistan. And you are raising the question on the opposition, who is asking about the accountability.
1 minute.
This is very hilarious.
Do we name Pakistan within 48 hours or 72 hours? Is that even a valid question to raise at this point, Anand Ranganathan? Should governments just jump the gun, not wait for investigations and begin to name people randomly? Does that how it works in terms of the international protocols that exist?
Navika, this is ridiculous, but good evening and good evening to my fellow panelists. As you rightly said, and as is evident, the justification and whitewashing of terrorists and terrorism has begun by these usual suspects. That these terrorists were kind, affable, brilliant doctors, and that their terrorism has to be looked from a different prism. Asking, why were they forced into terrorism? This is textbook action, reaction, provocation, reaction theory. But then you have to ask, why don't these usual suspects apply this same theory to Godhra riots and justify them as a reaction to the train burning? There, they don't bring this action-reaction theory. But then it's not about them, Navika, it's about us. Because after all, who allows thousands to attend funerals of terrorists? Who withdraws cases against Muslim rioters? Who gives bail to Coimbatore bombers despite SC refusing to do so? Who blames Nupur for burning the country instead of blaming those who actually burned the country? Navika, 5 doctors, including Muzambil, the mastermind of the Delhi terror attack, has been arrested. The chilling details of his modus operandi leave very little to imagination. But while it may come as news to many, I'm sorry, it's not news to me. Because in being relieved at him being arrested, we are yet again missing the woods for the trees. After all, did Muzammil incite riots in Kanpur over Nupur merely quoting the hadiths? Was it Muzammil who beheaded Kanhaiya Lal? Was it Muzammil who led a bloodthirsty mob to kill Anke in Delhi? Was it Muzammil who attacked hundreds of Ram Navami procession, Durga Puja procession, Hanuman Jayanti Shobha Yatras with impunity? Was it Muzammil who removed Bhagwa flags from temple in Muda Bidri and replaced them with Islamic flags? Was it Muzammil who replaced Ashok Chakra and Indian flag with Islamic Kalma? Was it Muzammil who stood for elections on Meerut, offering 51 crores to the beheaders of Charlie Hebdo journalists? Was it Muzammil who screamed Ralif, Galif, Salim from mosques? Was it Muzammil who attended the funerals of Burhan Wani, Yaqub and Nasrallah? Navika, there is a parallel world that is inhabited by millions of Muzammils. A world where they are not bound by rules, morality, ethics, propriety, by which they want the rest of us to be bound by. Because their morality, ethics, conduct is judged by man, not by God. Let us be under no illusion. The situation is intractable. Yaqub passed on the baton to Afzal, who passed it on to Burhan, who passed it on to Tahir, who passed it on to Muzammil. And unknown to us, Muzammil has already passed it on to someone. Just 30 seconds. You can condemn the fundamentalists, but they're only following the fundamentals, and you dare not condemn the fundamentals. Remember, moderate wield the pen, extremists the gun. The belief of moderates provides the cushion for extremists. I'll give you an example. One of the 5 Muslim signatories publicized by Tharoor, who condemned the terror attack, is Shahid Siddiqui. He comes across as a moderate in English, and this is what he says in Urdu regarding Taslima Nasreen. तस्लीमा नसरीन शैतान की बेटी हिंदुस्तान की सरजमीन पर कब तक मौज बनाएगी? This is classic folk tongue.
Yes, the whitewash has begun when the circumstances are looked at, and Tehseen Poonawala, you can't run away from that. The first word that came from Mehbooba Mufti yesterday was about the QOM. आप QOM को target कर रहे. Where did anybody bring in the QOM? Is it a coincidence that 6 people arrested, Dr. Shaheen, Dr. Umar, who's blown himself up, Dr. Muzammil, other people, all of them are terrorists. Who's looking at the religion in them other than those who are giving fire?
Okay.
Cover fire rather?
Okay. Let me be extremely clear. Mehbooba Mufti does not represent either the opposition in terms of the Congress or the Muslims or people of Kashmir. She got 0 seats.
Hussain Dalwai?
Please allow me to finish.
No,
because, please,
Hussain Dalwai, Tariq Anwar.
I request you
to name the people.
I request you. Allow me to make a point. I request you. When Mehbooba Mufti's Nepo daughter was encouraging the Ashok Stamp to be broken at Hazrat Bal, this government of Nalin Kohli ji has still not withdrawn a security. Iski security withdraw karo. Dekho kitni taakat hogi unme. You are playing footsie with her. You released terrorists. The BJP released terrorists to release her daughter, her Nepo sister. Yes or no, Navika? Who has encouraged terrorism in this country? I am saying unequivocally, these are terrorists who misinterpreted or have been wrongly doctrined under Islamic terror. I am saying this. Now I am asking you, what is the government doing? You don't want to name Pakistan? Don't name them. Now I'm asking you this. When this terror and radicalization is happening, what is the government doing? Is this not an Indian issue? Should we not look at it?
Well, before I come to Nalin Kohli, I want to get in Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Is Mr. Tehseen Poonawala playing a very sophisticated act?
The government is not at fault.
Can I talk? I was not interrupting.
The government's not at fault.
Abhijit Iyer Mitra, is Tehseen Poonawala doing whataboutery in his classic style because he has no answers for the questions that are being raised about the Hussain Dalwais, the Tariq Anwars, the Mehbooba Muftis, and somebody as senior as a former Union Home Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram?
Look, the last I checked, Miss Mufti's talentless daughters have the freedom to say what they are, and it doesn't actually remove the security nishana on them. So, removing security for them doesn't make you safer, less safe, or anything like that. Let's go back to the issue of these so-called doctors, so-called white collar, whatever, who have blown up things. There are such amazing fallacies that have come up during this past 15-20 minutes of debate. You know what Chidambaram has said? Circumstances. If you go back to when Mumbai and the Mumbai terror attacks happened and 26/11 happened, the big chat used to be root causes. Let us get to the root causes of terrorism. There is no root cause of terrorism. Please understand this. There is no circumstances that lead to terror. Osama bin Laden was born into a billionaire family and he still turned out to be a terrorist. The Sri Lankan Easter bombings were carried out by Sri Lanka's second or third richest family. Okay, this is a complete hogwash statement. He's just regurgitating this old root causes nonsense, which has been laid to rest comprehensively. This is a issue laundering. Now, far from what the SP gentleman said, this is like saying, 1971, India lost the 1971 war because 3,000 soldiers were killed. This operation was a success. What happened out here was these guys panicked, whoever was driving the car, and he exploded the bomb precisely because the net was closing in on him. You do not run down your own forces or your government when they actually have a success. Third, why don't you name Pakistan? I have never heard of this. Within 48 hours, you're meant to name Pakistan. You carry out your investigation. You slowly piece together information, intelligence, etc., etc. And when you're ready to name it, I've never heard of this barometer that if you're not named within 48 hours, you're not responsible. I really want to know which law book this comes from or which jurisprudence this comes from. So let us leave all of that aside. The first thing we need to understand is stop looking for root causes. There are none. Terrorists are terrorists. To look for root causes is to victim shame. It is essentially what happens in a rape when you say a girl was out after 8 p.m. She was skimpily dressed. There is one party that does a lot of it out here. We won't name them, of course, but that is what they do, and that is what they're doing again, victim shaming. There are no circumstances. These people were psychos. As for fundamentals, look, every religion has some level of violence in it. There is no religion, that even Christianity, where the God says, turn the other cheek. I will show you the Old Testament. You look at Joshua's conquest of Canaan. Unborn children were meant to be ripped from the mother's wombs and things like that. If the woman survived, she was meant to be sold into slavery. Do you find Jews and Christians going around doing that? They don't, no? Why is it, then they blame Wahhabism and Salafism. Why is it that the Saudis and the Emiratis are so well behaved? There is no terrorism out there. Do you see them going around burning things every time Gustakhe Rasool or something like that. They don't. They're very civilized people. So why is it that it is interpreting and translating in India in a certain way? You know, the Saudis have a concept of takfir. Takfir isn't a kafir, it is an inferior Muslim. And they fundamentally believe that Indian jurisprudence, Indian Islamic scholars are inferior. They don't neither get the original context of Islam, nor do they get the interpretation of Islam, nor do they get anything right. They consider Indian Muslims to a large extent to be takfirs. And I think the general commentariat, the Sunni commentariat you've seen in the last 24 hours, be it Rana Ayub or this lady Saima or whoever these 5 clowns are that Tehseen mentioned, they all actually very, very accurately, they are proving the Saudis right. They're proving the Al Saud family right. They're proving Prince bin Nahyan right. They're proving MBZ also right. So congratulations to the Saudi and Emirati royal family. They've hit the right thing. We need to look within us. We need to look within us. Look, the Gita also says...
But that is exactly what Chidambaram is saying. We need to look within us. We need to find out the circumstances.
He isn't. No. We need to look within us, the Muslim community, the Sunni. And let's not blame all Muslims. It isn't the Shias going around doing this. It is the Sunnis doing this. The Sunnis need to look within themselves. This isn't us.
Well, you're again bringing it back to religion, whereas nobody here, for everybody, terrorist should be a terrorist, but they go knocking on the doors of the Supreme Court after Yaqub Memon has been given the death sentence to be hanged till death. But रात को 12 बजे Supreme Court खोलेंगे. क्यों? क्योंकि वोट बैंक खतरे में है. And vote bank किसी, you know, there are 2 or 3 reasons why the opposition is doing what they are doing. One, vote bank खतरे में है. Number 2, बहाना मिल गया मोदी को टारगेट करने का, which the Aam Aadmi Party has done. And the other is generally to create cacophony. So let me get in the Aam Aadmi Party. Siddharth Sharma ji, really? 13 people died. आप dresses देख रहे हैं, आप bandages देख रहे हैं, आप photos देख रहे हैं, क्योंकि आपको प्रधानमंत्री पर पॉट शॉट्स लेने हैं, ये आपका पास टाइम है या ये आपका नेशनल कंसर्न है. एंड अगर वो कहा जाता है नकल के लिए भी अकल चाहिए होती है, तो तस्वीरों के बीच में टाइम का फर्क देख लेते तो आपको भी समझ में आता था. कॉमन सेंस है कि अगर there is one picture right after the blast, the person is wearing his clothes in which he was hurt, tests not done, he is not got a bandage. After that, x-rays will be done, MRIs will be done, there will be a bandage if there is a requirement of a bandage. Now, is that the level to which the Aam Aadmi Party is going to go when it does its politics? Like, really? You're not worried about terror, you're not worried about terrorists, you're worried about photographs?
Well, suffice to say, Navika ji, that the more the photo of the same patient with different limbs bandaged with the PM and the CM gets circulated, the more BJP ecosystem comes across as window dressing. So suffice to say, I'll not get into that much more than that.
Why? It is the only thing your ex-MLA had to tweet today, and sound bites too. So why will you only suffice to that? Should you be apologizing? Should you be apologizing for raising such inane issues?
I think the BJP should be apologizing by seeing these photographs 2 days. After 2 days, what kind of a joke it is that after 2 days, on one day the chief minister visits a patient, the next day the Prime Minister visits the same patient, and you take 24 hours in a hospital like LNJP to find out a fracture in a hand of a person and then bandage it. It comes across as window dressing. So that's why I said, suffice to say that I'll not get into that too much. Where a national party will speak about the terror issue here, that's the main point of the debate. So it's simple. For all the dialectic expert that Nalinji is, I think his black and white remark is right on spot, and I completely agree with that. And I trust only the Congress ecosystem to conjure up even ever novel ways of committing harakari. Luckily, though, Aam Aadmi of India is enormously more commonsensical than them. The real deal, though, here is that the national security pompous BJP is stuck between a rock and a very hard place after the Delhi attack. The nationalist BJP cannot afford to behave like a sly fox that eliminates its own guardians, then pleads mercy as an orphan. If it does, it confesses to delivering mere national security instead of any kind of national security. Every terror strike on India, Kandahar hijack, Akshardham, Parliament, Mumbai, Pulwama, Pahalgam, or now Delhi is connected to Pakistan. So why is BJP government not launching Operation Sindoor 2.0? Is it because 56-inch share is under Trump's pressure, or because ICC's Junior Shah plays gully cricket with Pakistan? Can quintals of explosives be grown in Ram Rajya of UP or BJP ruled Haryana? If so, then Senior Shah is
Nalin Kohli, please respond. Nalin Kohli, please respond. National Party है, national मुद्दे हैं, लेकिन ट्वीट फोटोग्राफ्स के बारे में करते हैं. सॉरी, गलत नंबर डायल हो गया. Respond.
I think, honestly, the Aam Aadmi Party has a model that is unique. They are the only political party that has a view on everything, and they have no work of their own. I mean, they have really no track record. Their track record, if you have to go by what their supreme leader, great Mr. Kejriwal is that मैं अराजक हूं. That's his statement. ध्वस्त कर दो सब कुछ नीचे ले आओ. Here there is no concern that a bomb blast took place. Let's just break it down. To anybody who does work will understand. Within 5 minutes, doctors, ambulances start arriving at the spot. There are body parts. There are parts of all the cars that are blown up. There's mayhem there. Fire tenders come. You rush them to LNJP. 50 doctors, nurses, paramedics start their work immediately. I mean, you have to just understand, people are coming in, there's blood, there's gore, it's not an easy situation. Those who work understand, things are happening, get the emergency out, who's critical, can we save the patient, put them into surgery, a lot is happening. It's not being done for the media, it's to save lives. And then there will be change of clothes, there will be change of bandages. Anyone who's been in a hospital will understand
when we as a country are looking at a grim situation of a terror attack, and when we are looking, Nalin, at a situation where it could have been much worse with the 3,200 kilograms of explosives that have been recovered, we are actually discussing why did the Prime Minister go to Bhutan. We are discussing the pictures, the photographs that are on air. We are discussing about circumstances. We are discussing about homegrown terrorists versus imported terrorists. I really don't know. I really don't know if this is a country where 140 crore people stand with the government with one single resolve to fight terrorism. But we have voices that give cover fire to the terrorists and to the countries that may have, at this stage, that may have perpetrated this terror. They want instant coffee results on when the country will attack Pakistan, almost as if it is probably just a change of clothes and you can begin wars whenever the opposition wants. Is this how irrelevant we are going to be in our debate and fight against terror? That's the question we're asking tonight. Thank you very much to all the panelists for joining me on debate number 1.